Welcome back to another episode of the Barber Shop. I'm your boy G Bush as always, man. Thanks for picking us up again, man. Thanks for checking us out. If you haven't, man, I'm always gonna say it, man. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Please go ahead and hit that notification bell. So if you don't, you can get all of the content and definitely get all the notifications of all our stuff coming up. As you can see, man, we back at it. We dropping videos again, man. It took me a little time to revamp my set, but we up and moving. We up and moving around. So that's what we've been doing lately. So what I want to do is, if you haven't checked out my previous blog, we specifically talked about J.J. Watt going to the Arizona Cardinals, and that's a huge loss for the Cleveland Browns. I specifically talked about how that impacts the Cleveland Browns defensive line because, when you have J.J. Watt or the potential of having J.J. Watt of a guy of his caliber and moving that around and having J.J. Watt on the same side as Myles Garrett. Maybe Myles Garrett standing up with J.J. Watt being in a 5 technique or even as a wide defensive tackle. Those guys running the techs and the twists, and maybe one guy, dropping in the coverage, or maybe both guys running those games out there. Or you can have them at bookends and running different things with those guys, or having, even J.J. Watt at defensive tackle. Those were so many things and so many different great opportunities that the Cleveland Browns could have run from a schematic standpoint, and they just don't have that anymore. When you don't have the ability and you don't have that now because he's off the board, I think it's a really big blow to the Cleveland Browns because I was counting on that. I was counting on them getting a guy of that caliber. So we say, where do you go now? Where do you go now? Where do you go to get that type of production? Where do you go to get that type of physical ability? Where do you go to get that pass rushing prowess? And I told you I was going to come back and give you exactly what we needed to do. I told you I was going to tell you what exactly we needed to do to get where we needed to go. And I got a name for y'all. I got a name. Now this guy's coming off injury. This guy, is coming off injury, but make no bones about it. He's one of the most prolific pass rushers in the history of this game. One of the most prolific edge rushers to ever put his hand in the dirt. This guy, multiple pass rush moves. This guy can wreck a game. This guy has wrecked games. This guy is more of an edge rusher than J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt is more versatile in terms of whether he can kick down to play a 3-4 scheme, kick down to play head up on the tackle, kick down to play defensive tackle. But in terms of versatility and move for move, rush for rush, skill set for skill set, this guy is more talented as an edge rusher. He's coming off an injury where he didn't play at all last year. And if you don't know who I'm talking about by now, man, it's your boy Von Miller. Von Miller is another guy who I think the Cleveland Browns could target. He's in his 30s. But Von Miller is a bona fide pass rusher. He's a bona fide pass rusher. And if you look at what the Denver Broncos are doing, the Denver Broncos are not a contender at this point. The Denver Broncos are not a contending team. They're not a team that's going to be out here that's going to be competing for championships. They don't even know who they got at quarterback no more. Drew Lock, what are you doing with that? What are you doing right there? They are not in that position. So you got an aging veteran coming off an injury, kind of the same thing with Olivier Vernon. But it ain't the same thing because let me tell you this, Von Miller is no Olivier Vernon. When you take a look at what Olivier Vernon can do and what Von Miller can do, it's night and day. Now, a lot of people will tell you, G. Bush, this is a risk. Why you gonna trade for a guy coming off injury? Here's my thought process. I've always said this. The Cleveland Browns are in a position right now that I'm not worried about certain amounts of games people are going to miss. It's baked in the cake. It's already when people say you don't want to talk about politics. One of the things I watch politics. I'm a political junkie, right? So I watch it not from a standpoint of whether I'm a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Liberal, Conservative, any of that. I watch it in terms of the jousting of the way of the way voters poll, of the way how people take certain things, the way things are passed. So I went to Buckeye Boys State, which it was sponsored by the American Legion, and it's a simulated government where kids in high school go and run for different office. I was in the House of Representatives, so I'm really into how the government works, laws, how it goes about, how we create our laws, elections, all of that good stuff. So by default, I'm into politics, right? So one of the things that you talk about is things being baked in. So certain things, certain voters understand about politicians. They understand about their party. They understand about certain things. They can vote for somebody because it's already baked in. Because they've already calculated that they know that person has done certain things, maybe in their civilian life or what they've done, and they've rationalized it and they baked it in and said, okay, no problem. I still like what you stand for in terms of your policies. I still like what you stand for in terms of your stance on religious issues. I still like what you stand for in terms of your fiscal your policies and where you stand on things like the role of government, whether it's small government, big government, right? They will bake that in, and they'll make a decision on a candidate based on those things. So for me, when in terms of making an example and an analogy, the Cleveland Browns are in a position right now where the Cleveland Browns aren't a young team. The Cleveland Browns aren't a team that's looking to make a step or develop young people. They're at a position where they're looking to take the next step to get to the Super Bowl and bring that trophy home. So for me, I need guys going back towards, looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look who they brought in. Rob Gronkowski, veteran. Ndamukong Suh, veteran. Guys who they brought in, Leonard Fournette, bringing him in. Antonio Brown, veteran. Bringing in these guys, and they're bringing those guys in, and they know that they have flaws. They know that some of them may be injury prone. They know all of these things. It's baked in the cake, though. So if I bring in J.J. Watt, and he misses 3 games because he's older and he's injury prone, or he's a little older, or he may need maintenance, so what? I just need to get you to the playoffs. Can you get me a big 4th down sack? Can you get me to play against Kansas City that we lost last year when you let Henne rush for 14 yards on 3rd down? Can you make that play for me, right? Can you get me a play if you're a defensive back, whether it's a Sherman, whether it's a Patrick Peterson, whether it's a Gilmore, whether it's a Marshawn Lattimore? Can you make a play that gets me to the next round? Can you get me a play that I can survive in advance? Like it's March Madness. Survive in advance. That's what I'm looking to do. And those are the situations that we're looking for in terms of veteran pieces, veteran players. If they miss 3-4 games, who cares? Denzel Ward is 5 years old. He misses every other game. He's always hurt. Greedy Williams, we ain't seen you in a year. Look at the people that we claim that are durable that miss games. I keep telling you people, football is football. Football is not about if you get hurt, it's when you get hurt. Nick Chubb, multiple games. Odell Beckham, multiple games. Come on now. Our best offensive lineman who came out of nowhere, Teller. Guess what? Multiple games. Multiple. Look at the people missing multiple games. Hooper missing games. We didn't have a whole receiving corps for long periods of time, long stretches of time. Delpit, whole year. I can keep going. Myles Garrett, multiple games. I can keep going on and on and on and on. The point of this conversation is to say this. You need to build a team and bring in guys that can make plays. And if Von Miller can still give you those type plays in crunch time, he's a guy you got to go get. He's a guy you got to go look at. Got to. You don't have time to look at your wounds and say, wow, man, we didn't get J.J. Watt. You need to go out by all means necessary and do everything you can do to solidify this defensive front. Because you can't go into next year with the same people. You just can't. You cannot go into the same year with the same exact people. It's going to end up the same exact way. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's not what is going to get it. That's not going to get it done. And I need you to understand that, right? You need an upgraded defensive line. And I'm talking pass rush. Your linebackers need another playmaker. A guy that can actually get off blocks, a guy that can get downhill, and a guy that can tackle somebody without whiffing 3 to 4 times a game. Preferably not in open field. Because these guys can't even tackle in open field. And you definitely need to address your corner situation. So Von Miller is a guy that I have my eye on. And if I'm Andrew Berry, I'm on the phone right now with Denver. I'm on the phone with Denver and I'm asking, what does it take? I'm asking, what does it look like? Because hey, I'm here to tell you, it's not going to cost you a first round pick. It ain't going to cost you a first round pick. It sure isn't. It sure is not. Coming off injury, I'm willing to wager you can get him for a third and some other stuff. A third and some other stuff. And by the way, stay out of the comment section saying trade Odell Beckham Jr. for Von Miller and something else. No. We need all of that. You are shooting for the Super Bowl. You are shooting for the Super Bowl. To get to the Super Bowl, you need all the ingredients. When you're making a good pot of stew, you need all the ingredients. When you make a Super Bowl stew, you need all the ingredients. That means you need the potatoes, you need the celery, you need the carrots, you need the beef stock. You got to have good sirloin tips of beef. Not the flank steak, not some of those, none of that stuff. You need those. You need to have that in the crock pot, not on the stove, not in a skillet. You need that in a crock pot. And you need to let that sit and simmer. You need all the ingredients for the Super Bowl stew. Stop trying to take stuff out. That's y'all's problem. That's why y'all's chili don't never win at the fair. That's why don't nobody want to eat y'all's dip. That's why everybody always asking who made the potato salad. We tell y'all, every time you tell you want to come to something, we say, bring the pizza. And then when you bring the pizza, you go get the hot and readies. You bring the $5 hollers. The pizzas that you gotta, them boys is done in a minute. $5 hot and readies from Little Caesars, you gotta eat them as soon as they get out the oven. They be harder than this HP laptop in 6.5 minutes. You better eat them now. Don't order it off Grubhub. Don't do DoorDash. You're done. Don't even do it. $5 hot and readies. We trying to make Super Bowl stew in Cleveland, and every time I'm trying to put stuff in the crock pot and get this thing moving, you a secondhand chef. You a sous chef. You keep trying to take stuff out the pot. We don't need those carrots. The hell we don't. Why we need those potatoes, G. Bush? Get out the kitchen. Move. So my grandma, get out the kitchen. Go on. And stop moving over. Go wash your hands too. Get out the kitchen. Why do we need all those that meat called them that's top flight steak sirloin? Why can't we get the chop steak? That's why don't nobody want to eat your stuff. Your ingredients is bad. That's why these teams that get to the playoffs, be looking bad because they one-dimensional, one-trick pony. You're going to run the ball the whole game. No, you're not in the playoffs. We're going to throw the ball 100 times. Get people wide open. No, you're not in the playoffs. We're going to play good special teams and punt and play field position the whole game. No, you're not in the playoffs. If you ain't playing all things equal and you ain't got no Super Bowl stew with an even distribution of carrots, celeries, potatoes, a nice hearty stock, and don't let me put some rice under that. Don't let me put a nice bed of rice over it. Come on, stop playing with me, man. Stop playing around with me, telling me about taking stuff out the stew. I watched that game. These fields look real short. I love Hollywood Higgins, but why you keep thinking Hollywood is in the news talking about, hey, dog, hit me up, bro. Hey, man, this is Hollywood, bro. Call me back, man. What we doing tonight? Andrew? We ain't doing nothing? Call me back, bro. You playing around, dog. You know how you be calling somebody and you just trying to, you know what I'm saying, you be seeing them. I know y'all done did it. You be seeing them on Facebook and then you call them immediately because they was on live. Hey, bro, I just seen you on live, dog. Man, how come you ain't return my calls? I just seen you on live, player. Yeah, hit me back, man. Stop, hit me back. Yeah, I got my clothes on right now, man. I already got my shower. Just hit me back, slide through. Ain't nobody sliding through. The reason is, Hollywood, you ain't stretching that field like that. I love to have you back at the right price. But at the end of the day, stop playing around trying to take stuff out of the pot and it's Super Bowl stew. Odell Beckham Jr. is staying. We need other stuff on top of him to get where we going. I'm trying to get some other stuff. So let me get to Von Miller. That's the next contestant up when his Price is Right. And I need to talk to Levante David. If you watching out here, if you watching, Mr. Barry, get on that phone line. It's time. Listen, just like Usher and P. Diddy say in the beginning of this, and you don't got to call. Hey, Playboy. Hey, man. Hey, Playboy, get up, man. Hey, I see you over there, man. Hey, man, we going out tonight. You know what I'm saying? Get your stuff on. We going out today. One. Get on that phone and get to talking to Levante David, get to talking to Von Miller, and let's go ahead and knock this out. As always, man, appreciate y'all. Check out gbush.live. People have been asking me about the merch. That's where you can find it. gbush.live. That's the website. All my videos is up there. You can catch every video that I got up there. Twitter feed, everything, gbush.live. And don't forget, check out my live. The live feed is called G-Bush Live every single Saturday at 7 p.m. I did my last one last week. We didn't post it to everything last week. Had a little difficulties. But this week, it will be everywhere. Check out G-Bush Live. We'll be talking about a lot of different subjects other than sports, other than Cleveland sports. So if you want to do that, check it out. It'll be a list, a playlist into the barbershop, and you can check G-Bush Live out. As always, man, share this, like this. Definitely hit that notification bell. And please, please, please check out the barbershop every single Saturday on 92.3 The Fan. If you can't get it on your radio, you live out of state, you live other places, you're just catching this, you can always get me anywhere in the country on the radio.com app. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.